Hi, welcome to our channel. This video is about a movie story recap. If you like and appreciate what we do, please subscribe, like and share our videos. Thank you.
Moments after Peter Parker, Tom Holland grabbed MJ, Zendaya, to escape the gathering of stunned New Yorkers who honestly believe that he is responsible for the London drone strikes by Mysterio, after Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons revealed him as Spider-Man. Peter and MJ attempt to escape the crowds by swinging, but news helicopters surround them. They manage to escape by utilizing the subway system. Peter and MJ return to the Parkers' apartment, where Aunt May, Marissa Tomei, and Happy Jon Favreau have recently broken up, but Peter's identity has already been revealed. Peter has no choice but to comply with police when he sees news helicopters outside his flat while trying to determine what happened to May and Happy. Peter, MJ, and Ned Jacob Batalon are questioned by the authorities on their alleged participation in terrorist activities. Peter is defended by MJ and Ned, but he manages to find a lawyer to assist drop the charges, blind attorney Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox. Peter attempts to return to a normal lifestyle, but he is pursued by individuals who view him as either a hero or a threat. Peter attempts to make it work, following his friends' assurances. They focus on their college applications, but due to recent events, all of them are rejected. Even their preferred institution, MIT, rejects them all. Peter feels responsible for the devastation of his friend's life due to their affiliation with him. Peter contacts Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, at the Sanctum Sanctorum to ask whether he can turn back time to prevent people from learning his secret identity, but Strange believes that tampering with time was already perilous when the Avengers defeated Thanos. Then, he develops a concept for a spell that could cure the situation, despite Benedict Wong warning that the spell's ramifications could be devastating. Strange ignores Wong and then takes Peter to a lower level, where he begins to weave the spell to make everyone forget that Peter is Spider-Man. Midway through the spell, Peter begins to make adjustments since he still wants MJ, Ned, May, and Happy to know he is Spider-Man. This causes the spell to collapse and create a momentary rift, but Strange is able to regain control. Strange scolds Peter when he reveals that he did not even call the MIT administrator to discuss rethinking for MJ and Ned before requesting the magic. Peter contacts Flash, Tony Revolori, who claims to be Spider-Best Man's friend, and he assists Peter in attempting to contact the MIT administrator, Paula Newsome, while she travels across the Alexander Hamilton Bridge en route to the airport. Peter arrives due to a traffic congestion and begins speaking with the administrator, but his spider senses alert him. People begin leaving their cars as mechanical tentacles begin to emerge from beneath the bridge. Dr. Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus, emerges from beneath the bridge, Alfred Molina. He addresses Peter, who dons the Spider-Man costume to combat him. He attempts to save the administrator, but Doc Ock continues to attack him. When the administrator's car slides over the side of the bridge, Spider-Man is able to securely web it up before Doc Ock catches him under the bridge and rips out a portion of the Spidey suit's nanotechnology, which attaches to his tentacles. However, Peter is able to manipulate the tentacles and use them to pull the administrator to safety, according to the suit's programming. Otto then notes that this Peter is not the Peter Parker he knows and holds responsible for his failed nuclear project. She tells Peter that he is a hero and that she will discuss his application, as well as that of MJ and Ned, with the board. A cackling person then throws a pumpkin bomb onto the bridge, causing some cars to explode. Otto identifies Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe, but Peter is subsequently pulled through one of Strange's portals. Strange reveals to Peter that he has erected holding cells for Otto and Dr. Kurt Connors, the lizard in the Sanctum, Rhys Ifans. Strange claims that Peter's meddling with the spell has allowed individuals from other multiverses who recognize Peter as Spider-Man to pass through. Strange provides Peter a magical gauntlet that enables him to capture multiverse figures, and Peter enlists the aid of MJ and Ned. Strange allows them to assist from the basement of the Sanctum. Otto explains that it is impossible for him to see Norman, who died years before Otto became Doc Ock, as they search for the others. Peter ventures out at night toward a field containing enormous electrical towers. He observes Max Dillon, Electro, Jamie Foxx siphoning energy from the towers, and when he confronts Max, the latter begins firing electrical bolts at Spider-Man. Flint Marko, Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church protects him since he recalls how Peter Parker saved him in a previous adventure, but Peter must explain that he is not the Peter Flint knows. Then, Peter removes the charges from the tower in order to bring Max down. His body, which was previously glowing blue, returns to its natural look. Peter then used the gauntlet to place Max and Flint in holding cells. Norman abandons his goblin guise and shatters his helmet before fleeing to the feast facility where May is employed. She contacts Peter to inform him that he has arrived. Norman appears unstable, babbling about his foreign surroundings and mentioning his son, Harry. May urges Peter to assist Norman. Jameson continues to report against Spider-Man on his show, and he learns Peter's location in an effort to catch him for a major story. Peter transports Norman to the sanctum, where he identifies Otto. Flint mentions that Norman and Otto are deceased in his realm. The lizard recognizes Max from his earlier nerdy appearance, and Max recalls the lizard's attempt to transform everyone in New York into creatures similar to himself. Strange then enters with the relic Machina de Cadavas, which contains the failed spell and will be used to return the villains to their respective universes. After Peter discovers that they are all doomed to die fighting Spider-Man, he believes there is an alternative solution. He steals the relic from Strange and runs with it through the streets. Strange rips Peter's spirit from his body, but Peter's reflexes allow him to avoid Strange, and he reassembles himself to continue his flight. Strange then draws Spider-Man into the mirror dimension, as Peter continues to persuade Strange that there must be a better way to resolve the situation without allowing the villains to die. When Spider-Man understands that the mirror dimension is similar to geometry, he is able to trap Doctor Strange in a web and retrieve the relic before fleeing, leaving Strange behind, and stealing his portal generator. Peter suggests a different method in which he will cure the villains of their corruptions and return them home to avert their destiny. He leaves the relic with MJ and Ned, along with the portal generator, before bringing the villains to his and May's new apartment, where he locates the essential components for the mission. Peter shows the criminals a Stark fabricator that can produce everything they require, but Max is drawn to the arc reactor's energy. Peter builds a new chip for Otto with the assistance of Norman that will allow him to control the tentacles rather than the other way around. Otto returns the nanotechnology to Peter's suit, and Peter provides Max with a gadget that will drain his body's electrical energy. Unfortunately, his spidey senses go off, and Peter discovers Norman transforming back into the Goblin in an attempt to thwart the plot. Max is persuaded by Goblin to embrace his strength and reject the treatment. While Max and Flint withdraw, Lizard escapes from the truck he was in. Otto is thrown out the window by Goblin, but he escapes just in time to join Jameson and his men. Spidey battles Goblin as the villain slams him through the building's floors, while May steals the antidote and flees. May tries to inject Goblin with the antidote, but it fails, and Goblin strikes May with his glider before escaping and throwing pumpkin bombs at the news crew and police officers outside. May stands up and approaches Peter. May informs him he did the right thing and reminds him that, great power comes with great responsibility. They begin to depart, but May learns she has suffered severe injuries. Peter remains by her side while she passes away. The SWAT team surrounds the building and opens fire on Peter, but he manages to escape. Happy gets captured by authorities after observing May's demise while driving past. Jameson blames Spider-Man for May's death, while Peter feels tremendous remorse about it. MJ and Ned attempt to locate Peter via the portal creator. Ned manages to make it work and discovers Peter, only that this is not their Peter. This other Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, exits the portal and enters Ned's grandmother's chamber. He deceives MJ and Ned into believing he is Peter Parker. When Ned tries again, he discovers an additional Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire. The two Spider-Men meet, and Tobey Peter reveals that he has been searching for Peter from this universe in an effort to assist him. Since MJ and Ned don't know where he is, the two Peters assume he must be somewhere they typically go to escape their issues. MJ knows where he can be found. MJ and Ned discover Peter on the building's roof, where they had been previously. They console him for the loss of May, and he shows regret for aiding the baddies. The other Peters attempt to communicate with Tom Peter, but he refuses to listen since he is obsessed with fury and loathing towards Goblin. Tobey Peter mentions that he wished for the death of the man who killed his Uncle Ben, but that his wish did not make him feel better. Andrew Peter expresses regret for his inability to save Gwen Stacy. When Tom Peter realizes what his variants had through, he realizes he cannot let May's death be in vain. The three Peters, together with MJ and Ned, continue to find remedies while bonding and marveling at one another's special skills, such as Toby Organic Peter's web shooters. Tom Peter shares his concerns with MJ, who reassures him that she will be at his side. He then calls the Daily Bugle for Jameson's show to address all of New York and tell them that he will fix the situation, despite having caused it. The Spider-Men entice the baddies to the Statue of Liberty, where they are adding a Captain America shield, while MJ and Ned protect the artifact. The Peters discuss other former adventures, such as Toby Peter battling the symbiote and Tom Peter against Thanos, while Andrew Peter regrets fighting Rhino, but the other two convince him he is still great. Soon after, Sandman, Lizard, and Electro enter and begin to battle the Spider-Men. As the heroes attempt to offer the remedies, they are repeatedly knocked down. The three Spideys unite to attack certain targets after deciding to do so. Toby Peter battles Sandman but manages to cure him so that he can back to being Flint. He then vows to deliver Sandman home to his daughter. When Lizard notices the open portal, he pursues MJ and Ned, driving them to flee onto the scaffolding. Tom Peter captures and transforms Lizard back into Kurt. Otto reappears and assists Andrew Peter by removing the arc reactor with his tentacles and applying the cure to Andrew's chest. Peter's Max is remorseful, but Andrew Peter holds no grudge towards him, for which Max is grateful. Goblin attacks while gliding in on his glider. Ned successfully extracts Strange from the mirror dimension, and he observes the three Spider-Mons in action. Goblin destroys the scaffolding, causing MJ to fall over the edge. Tom Peter attempts to rescue her, but is struck by the glider. Andrew Peter intervenes and saves MJ, and he looks to briefly feel redeemed toward Gwen. Tom Peter utilizes one of the Goblin's bombs to bring down the glider and cause it to collide with the shattered cap shield. He webs Goblin to the ground and commences a vicious assault. Then, Tom Peter seizes the glider and prepares to impale him, but Toby Peter intervenes and prevents him. Goblin stabs Toby Peter in the back, and he begins laughing at Tom Peter for failing to save May. However, Tom Peter injects Toby Peter with the cure and entirely removes Goblin from Norman's body. Then, a rift appears in the sky, signaling that more potential villains are about to breach the multiverse's borders, and Strange states that he cannot stop them. Peter then offers a last spell that will make people forget not only that he is Spider-Man, but also that he exists. Even Strange, MJ, Ned, and Happy will forget who Peter is, but this is the only way to resolve the situation. Peter bids his variants goodnight with a group embrace, acknowledging them as brothers, before proceeding to inform MJ and Ned of the situation. Ned bids his best friend farewell with tears, while Peter and MJ declare their love for one another and have a final kiss before he departs. Then, everyone returns to their own universe. Jameson continues to defame Spider-Man in the press. Peter now lives alone, and nobody knows his identity. He visits the cafe where MJ works and discovers her with Ned there. They remain close friends and have both been accepted at MIT. Peter speaks briefly with MJ before departing. Later, he visits May's cemetery alongside Happy and asks Peter how he knew her. Both he and Happy realize how many people May assisted, with Spider-Man. Peter returns to his residence and utilizes a police scanner to monitor criminal activity. He then continues to fulfill his duties as Spider-Man to safeguard New York.